Hello and welcome back to Racing Weekly, a podcast and YouTube show brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. It's my great honour to be joined by both Gavin Lynch and Tom Bull on the show this week. We're going to look back at the action that we've seen over the last few days before having a look ahead to the Betfair Chase card at Haydock and also across in Ireland. Gavin, you've been busy since we last had you on. You've done a charity cycle ride and you've also now got a Guinness World Record.
Yeah, it's been a good summer. I don't punt as much as I used to in the summers, but had to go with the longest putt back in April and it just happened to go in, so that was good fun. It's a number of months ago now. And then for the fifth year in a row, we had, it's now the Curragh charity cycle, which is part of the Pat Smullen Race Day at the Curragh. And this year we raised our record amount of 351,000, which is amazing. And in 5 years, we've raised 1.2 million for Cancer Trials Ireland. So it's a great day. And we're going again next year at the end of August, 29th of August. And people can cycle as little as 10 or 20k. So would you come along, would you?
I'd love to, yeah.
Would you?
It just about comes at the end of the school summer holidays, so I should be able to have childcare sorted. So as long as my wife doesn't leave teaching and therefore cannot look after our child, yeah, I'll be over for it.
And you can stay in our house and we'll look after you. So if you come over, Tony McCoy has come over the last 4 years on the day, gone back that night, but sure, stay Saturday night and go back Sunday. You'll have a good bit of fun around Screen and Mrs. O's pub and stuff. So, but it's a great day, good atmosphere. If people get the chance, they should come along.
Yeah, amazing to do things for charity. Obviously, this thing on my face won't be there much longer, so it'll be there in a couple of weeks. So I'll put the link to the donations part for Movember on the description as well. Tom, did you get across to Cheltenham over the last few days?
No, I didn't. By the way, just on that, you've committed online now, so there's no backing out.
I know.
You've
Definitely.
got to do it. Yeah.
But Gavin's also committed to the fact that he's given me a place to stay. So
Yes.
yeah, I look forward to that as well.
That is very nice of him. No, I wasn't at Cheltenham. I was in the studio Monday, studio Friday, so couldn't get there, unfortunately. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good to have it back properly. Obviously, the rain made a bit of a difference on Friday, but were you there?
I was there.
Oh, were you? I didn't realise.
I was there, and we were hosting the Racing Lounge at Cheltenham, and I'd say 95% of people in that room did not leave in order to go and see the horses run. I mean, I've been at courses where for an hour you've had a thunderstorm and the rain has been heavier, but I've never had the whole day across. We got there, I think, about 9:30 and didn't leave until 6, and it rained constantly. It was the worst weather I've ever had prolonged on a racecourse.
The last time I was at the Cheltenham Festival was on the Wednesday. Do you remember the really wet Wednesday? It was the same that day. It lashed all day.
Yeah.
Was that John Pullen's first year as a clerk, I think?
That was when the bumper should have been...
Call off, yeah. They were
'Cause
splashing through it.
Yeah, that was Facile Vega year,
It
wasn't it?
was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Right, that we'll now get into our first section, which is a racing recap. So we'll review a few races from Cheltenham over the November meeting. The L'Eau Chase is probably the biggest talking point that we'll touch on. L'Eau Du Sud beat John Bon. They may well both contest the Tingle Creek and possibly the Champion Chase later in the season. But what was your reading on the race, Gavin?
L'Eau Du Sud is a super horse. He goes really well fresh. Is there a better jumper of a fence in Britain or Ireland? It's hard to think of one. I thought his jumping's amazing. John Bon, he was giving him £3, but he's beaten about 15 lengths. He's just not the same force around Cheltenham. In the Tingle Creek, it's very hard to see him reversing it with the age that he is, etc. If L'Eau Du Sud goes to the Tingle Creek and then gets a break to Cheltenham and the ground turns up really soft for the Champion Chase, he definitely would have an each way squeak. He's 12-1, and as I said, he was never a grade 1 over hurdles. He was a handicapper, but his jumping over fences is really special.
Yeah, I was slightly worried about his finishing effort up the hill at Cheltenham, given how he kind of finished off the Arkle. I thought he was going to go and win that day, but yeah, it was much better performance in that. You touched on his jumping, race IQ data, plus 10 lengths based on lengths gained jumping, which is very high. 7.5 jump index on there as well. But the handicapper was impressed, up £8 to 163. John Bon down 1 to 167. Is it just a Cheltenham thing, or are you slightly concerned about him on the whole going forward?
I think it probably is just a Cheltenham thing. I think he's 2 from 7 at the track now, which for a horse of his calibre is so poor. And, you know, he just always seems to make mistakes at crucial moments. This time it was stood down the back and he just didn't look very happy throughout, I didn't think. L'Eau Du Sud, very impressive, no doubt about that. Harry Skelton said afterwards in the interview that he's a £7 better horse when he's fresh, which is a slight concern going to the Tingle Creek. I mean, if it were me and I owned or trained him and that was the case, I think I'd have a think about going straight to maybe the Clarence House and then going to Cheltenham, because you've got a sort of nice break in between both races there. Tingle Creek, if he is a better horse fresh, might come that little bit soon. I do think that both he and John Bon are going to be playing for places there anyway, because Il Était Temps, I think, has already won it almost. He was so impressive at Clonmel, obviously won at Sandown last year, and I think he's the one to beat. But yeah, I was impressed with L'Eau Du Sud, but I'd be worried that he's just that little bit better fresh.
I think one thing that's very tricky for Dan Skelton is that his number one ambition is probably to win the trainer's title. He's more or less up at 1.2 million already. Do you keep running the horses to win prize money, or do you keep them fresh for Cheltenham? So it must be very hard for him to get the balance. He's absolutely on fire. So it's playing one off the other is probably tricky for him.
Yeah, because you look at a few of the horses that he was running at the likes of Aintree and Sandown towards the end of the season, and that was for prize money. And I see exactly what you're saying is, like L'Eau Du Sud will harm his chances, I think, in a champion chase by running more to this season. But the prize money element of it is obviously going to be fascinating. I think he blamed himself for running him at Warwick last year before the Arkle.
So it's the same thing again. Is it prize money, or do you wait for Cheltenham? And then if you wait for Cheltenham and you finish fourth in the champion chase, you'll say, geez, why didn't I run before this? You know, so it's hard to get it right.
Yeah, and Tom is obviously going to be with Il Était Temps in the Tingle Creek. Looking at the prices, Il Était Temps 11 to 10, L'Eau Du Sud 11 to 4, John Bon 11 to 4. Your thoughts on that race?
Probably Il Était Temps. He was very good in the celebration chase. Willie was very surprised that he won because he didn't think he was fully fit. He told Danny to try and hunt around and finish third or fourth, and Danny took it up way before the pond fence, and Willie was going, I'm going to sack him. But it paid off. He was going so well. L'Eau Du Sud is better fresh, but I think L'Eau Du Sud will finish ahead of John Bon, even though it's right-handed at Sandown, and he won't be fresh. It's just John Bon is 9, turn and 10. It's very difficult for these horses to keep going for 5-6 years at the top level. So I wouldn't be with John Bon, even though Sandown is his favourite racecourse.
I think it is. The other good performance on the Friday was No Drama This End, winning the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. Obviously beat Heads Up, who had form in the champion bumper by 3 lengths, is now 14 to 1 with Bet365 for the Albert Bartlett. I was really excited about him going forward.
Yeah, I thought it was a great performance. Beat Heads Up, who's a fair yardstick. I thought Heads Up did a little bit too much in front. Possibly enough a little bit quick, was a little bit keen as well. But the way that No Drama This End travelled, such a young horse, an experienced horse, I thought was really notable. Likely to go to the Shallow, because that's what Paul Nicholls likes to do. I thought we've got to stop this sort of hyping up horses, though, haven't we? Afterwards, he was saying he was sort of akin to Denman, or might be the new Denman. I'm just thinking, come on, like.
I think he does get led into those three questions, though.
Possibly, but I just thought it was exaggeration, hyperbole that was just a bit silly. But he did it very well. There's no doubt about that. I'm not entirely sure about the strength of those in behind, other than Heads Up, who obviously we know is a decent yardstick and won well at the stole. But yeah, as I say, I thought he was a bit keen and possibly did a little bit too much, and it just set up nicely for No Drama This End. But I think he's going to be a very good horse, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I thought it was more, for me, jockeyship won the race. Harry Cobden knows on that rain-softened ground to go wide at Cheltenham. I thought Mark McDonough showed the fact that I think it's his third race at Cheltenham, just going down the inside, and that's not really where he wants to be.
Yeah, fair point. No Drama This End finished 9th in the Cheltenham bumper, beaten 9 lengths. Heads Up was second, only beaten 1.5 lengths. So it just shows you those bumpers are a waste of time. It's all about the jumping game. This was over 2.5. He wins by 3 lengths. They were carrying the same weights. It was a grade 2. Very good performance. As you say, it's just Paul has now put pressure on the horse, saying, I hope the horse didn't hear him, that he's the next Denman. But we've heard that before with Brave Man's Game and stuff like that. So he's 12 or 14 to 1 for the Bartlett. He's also the same price for the Turners Novice Hurdle over 2.5. I would give him a place chance, but I wouldn't be backing him. I don't think, like when you see Henry's running on there, King's Bucks in third, he'd be a long way off grade 1 form, I think. So good horse. It wouldn't just be for me at the minute.
Yeah, it'd be more of a bet for the Shallow rather than.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
You touch on horses improving, going from the flat to hurdling. One Horse Town has certainly done that in the Triumph Hurdle picture. He's now made it 4 from 4, beating Precious Man by 3 3/4 lengths at the finish. I thought it was an interesting ride by Harry Skelton. I think if he'd have pinged the last, he'd have got a bit closer. But yeah, what are your thoughts overall on the race and going forward to the Triumph Hurdle?
Yeah, the race was fine. It was running the old course. Obviously, the Triumph Hurdle was running the new course. As you mentioned, the winner's 4 from 4, jumped brilliantly, except for a mistake of the last. The second horse made a mistake the last, as we know, as well as you just mentioned. If the two of them wing the last, the winner still wins. The best horse won. The only thing is that Precious Man was giving him £5. So if they met again at levels, it could be, a lot closer, obviously. But if it was run on the new course, I think that the winner would probably still win.
Yeah, it was a good tactical ride from the front, wasn't it, from Paul O'Brien? Would have looked at it. I don't think there was a huge amount of pace in the race and changed tactics in order to do so.
Yeah, good tactics. And I think the winner is 16s, 20s, 25s for the Triumph Hurdle. Lots of different prices for it. Probably needs to show more to be in that category, but a good performance and nice to win a Grade 2.
Yeah, I think it heads back to the trials day and then straight to the Triumph Hurdle from there. But you'd be slightly disappointed, wouldn't you, if One Horse Town ends up proving good enough to win a Triumph?
I think you would be. I remember I was at Kempton on the flat actually back in March when he won by a nose in a maiden, and I thought to myself as I crossed the line, God, he's really quite slow, this horse. But he has proven me wrong since going hurdling. I mean, it's quite nice as well that he won at Hexham and Stratford during the summer, very easily indeed. But for a horse during the summer to make hay, to actually then go and do it in the winter as well, it doesn't happen always. So that was quite nice to see. I thought it was a beautiful jumping round, really well placed from Harry Derham, who's got him absolutely spot on for this. I just feel like once the Irish juveniles come in and we get a few more juveniles in this country, it's going to get a little bit harder for him. But he's a lovely horse. He really tries. And I love the way he stayed on at the end of the race as well. That was heavy ground, 2 miles, half a furlong. He will stay further than that, no doubt about it, the way he hit the line. But I just think he's going to, he'll probably come out unstuck when he faces something better.
And just to say, I think there's been at least maybe, I'm going to say 10 3-year-olds that have been bought for huge money that haven't appeared yet. So just, I'd keep your powder dry in terms of the Triumph. And I'm going to mention later on a couple of Gordon Elliott horses that ran in the last week that were very nice 3-year-olds as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, the handicapper hasn't gone mad on the performance, up 8 to 131. And obviously that just kind of shows how far he's going to need to go to actually win. Yeah,
you'd want to be getting to at least 145 to win a Triumph, yeah.
And only 3 horses in the last 25 years have gone on to win from this race to the Triumph itself. So it doesn't happen that often.
No, I think he's under your dock. Did he win this? And then obviously close in the Triumph.
I think the last one to do both was L'Eau Du Sud in 2016.
Yeah, he did. Arkle Trial, July Flower beat Be Aware. Good performance. I thought it was a performance of a stayer though, as opposed to an Arkle contender.
Yeah, sure. She's ran over 3 miles in France, similar to 2.5 and 3 miles in Ireland, etc. Her jumping in Limerick was good, but she was quite high in a few of them, so I was a little bit worried that over 2 miles she might get caught out, but her jumping was a lot better. She was very high at the 4th last, but she knuckled down and she battled well. She was getting the £7, won by a length and a half. So you're saying to yourself on Saturday, that's a nice Arkle performance. And then within a couple of days, you're kind of forgetting about her, you know. She's 20 to 1 for the Arkle, but since then, obviously, we've had Kopek to board and Lulamba. So I would agree with you that maybe long term, she's more a 2.5 mile mare. Will she end up in the Mare's Chase this year or next year? We'll see.
Yeah, that is going to be one of these ones where come the first week in March, connections are probably going to be looking at how strong the Arkle is in comparison to the Mare's Chase. Because that Mare's Chase, I think it was a 6-runner race last year, wasn't it, with Dino Blue? And yeah, that'd look a more winnable contest.
Possibly,
than the Arkle currently, that we'll touch on obviously later. Your thoughts on that race?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tougher Arkle than the one that put the kettle on one back in 2019. July Flower's going to have her work cut out if she does get to the big race in March. I've never been a huge fan of Be Aware as a horse. I just don't think he's that good. I thought it was a nice performance from July Flower. She's jumped so much better than she did last time, which is definitely an encouragement. But I think a bit like One Horse Town, once she starts taking on tougher opposition, she'll probably come unstuck. I mean, the Arkle picture looks so strong. I know we're going to touch on it in a minute, but I mean, if she turns up in that race, she's going to be 20 to 1 short, isn't she? Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's 16 to 1 for the Arkle with Bet365.
I don't think she'll get much shorter if the current picture doesn't change.
No, you'd be surprised, wouldn't you? The big handicap chase, Paddy Power, Gold Cup, Panic Attack continued the good form of the Skeltons. I didn't think it was the strongest of contests going into it, but she's +7 to 142, and apparently we might see her out relatively quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes beforehand were that Vincenzo was really well handicapped, and she's made mincemeat of him, beating him 4 lengths, and I think he ran pretty well. I thought it was a brilliant piece of training from Dan Skelton. He's become arguably the best target trainer in this country now, and the way she jumped, the way she travelled, it was all perfect throughout, wasn't it? There's never really a moment's doubt if you were supporting her that you'd be worried. I love the way she quickened up after the last as well, clearly well handicapped, and I think she's going to go to Doncaster, isn't she, for that listed chase?
Yeah.
Against the mare, she'll definitely be hard to beat there. I think she jumps so well. That's her big asset.
Yeah, and given that form over the intermediate trip, I suppose at Cheltenham, the Mare's Chase would be the obvious long-term target that she's 10-1 with Bet365 for.
She won like an airplane, didn't she? Very good. 135. She's 2 from 2 over fences since going to the Skeletons from Pipe, formerly trained by Willie when she won a bumper. Yeah, she's very good. It must be, she's a brave mare to be jostling around with all the fellas in the race and come down the outside and win easy. Very good performance, you say, up £7 to 142. So again, she'd want to improve another £10 to get involved in the mare's chase, but really, really good performance. And again, a brilliant training performance, yeah.
Yeah, a horse that's clearly progressive is Alexi. Won the Greatwood Hurdle. Ground fears before the race, but they know that he now goes on any sort of ground. Is he going to prove better than a handicapper? He's 40-1 for the Champion Hurdle. It's a long step towards that, but he's going the right way.
Do we know what he went up yet?
No, because it was run on Sunday. So
okay,
Tuesday when those come out.
What are you thinking, 9 or 10?
I would say so.
Yeah, so
I
say
think Brendan Powell should have looked at the TV screen, I think.
134 up to say 144. He's down the inside, coming down the hill, which is never really the place to be. Helmvine, that ended up being second, travelled well to the bend. You thought he maybe looked a winner, but Alexi powered up, especially after the last. You think he's going to win 3 or 4 lengths, and he wins by a lot more. So he's a really good horse, as you say. The worries about the ground beforehand. He's an exciting horse. He's only had 7 runs and open to tons of improvement. So are they going to go to Ascot for the big handicap hurdle before Christmas, or will they go down the graded hurdle route? Look, the Champion Hurdle I don't think it's particularly strong, and if he wins 1 or 2 more, sure, you'd have a go, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think they'll probably look at what happens in the fight in 5th and then have a look at the old international hurdle, and it's a sort of race that you'd put them in to test the water before the Champion Hurdle, isn't it?
I'd imagine they'll go for a handicap next, and then sure, if he wins that, you have a decision to make, but you need to get up to at least 160 odd to have a chance, so he needs to keep improving, but yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, Champion Hurdle last year proved that you have to be in it to win it.
Absolutely right, yeah. I'm sure connections will be buoyed by that. What with State Man coming out, Constitution Hill not the force of old, in my opinion at least.
Did you not see that gallop earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that before. Yeah, it's definitely a more open picture, I think, heading to the Champion Hurdle than perhaps it normally is, but of course plenty of big guns still to come out. Yeah, ground concerns beforehand I thought were fair, but also I didn't think they needed to be too worried because he was 3rd on soft ground in Germany and he's run well on good to soft. I didn't think it was as big a problem as many made out, and Joe Tizard said that in the interview, I think, beforehand as well, because he had a winner earlier in the day. But yeah, I thought what we did was really, really, really good. The way he powered up the hill, a bit like Gavin, I thought going to the Ladbroke route is probably the most sensible. If he goes up around about £10, that's mid-40s, and if he wins the Ladbroke off that and wins it well, then you're talking about a really good 2-miler in the making. I think that would be a good level, a good race in which to judge the level that he's going to be, put it that way. And it's quite a nice spacing, isn't it, between now and then. So, yeah, I thought he did it really well and clearly going the right way. Joe Tizard's form is tremendous at the moment.
And he's only a 5-year-old, so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely the best is still to come, I think, with Alexi. The best is probably still to come for 3 exciting novice chasers that we saw either Sunday or Monday. Final Demand being the first, Kopek de Bordes and L'Alhambra. I'll put them all in as a group together, and I'll just get you to discuss those, Tom.
I'll go with Kopek first. Boy, does he alarm me during the race. At the start of that contest, I thought he's going to fall here. But do you know what? He's got such an engine, and he's so talented that it did seem to me that the quicker they went, the better he jumped. I think that was borne out with the last 2 fences, which he absolutely flew, and the race IQ data backs that up. He's just such a talented horse, isn't he? I think he's a bit of an enigma. He's a bit quirky. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we saw that over hurdles last year. He would bash a few, wouldn't he? That's my big worry about him. You know, when he takes on the Arkle and takes on tougher horses, is there a big mistake in him? I think there could be, but at the same time, he's so talented.
Yeah, we've seen a few times with Willie, haven't we, over the years? El Fabiolo, Underso, Marshbury even last year, that these real 2-mile Grade 1 novice chasers, they do have those mistakes in them.
They do, and you have to remember that in the Supreme, for example, there's 8 hurdles, but in the Arkle there's 13 fences. And having watched racing there for the last few days, like, jumping is just so critical to everything. And you saw it last year with Marshbury, best horse in the race without a shadow of a doubt, and makes a dreadful mistake 2 out. You can't get away with it. Kopek de Bordes jumping. The first couple in behind were okay, and then when he got to the front, he jumped well. But down the back straight, Paul was trying to calm him down and get him to pop away, but he didn't really like that, and they were kind of having a little an argument. And then when they turned into the straight, Paul let out an inch in rain, and he absolutely wings the last 3. So he's either going to be amazing or, you just have a slightest little worry about his jumping, but overall, very good performance. To beat Lovely Hurling was rated 145. Effortless was really good. Obviously, a Supreme winner. I prefer Supreme winners ahead of Triumph Hurdle winners every year. I think to win a Supreme, you're talking high 150s, and to win a Triumph, you're probably talking mid to high 140s, I think, personally. L'Eau Du Sud was really good, got £8, but we won by 10 lengths. Again, jumping was good, slightly hesitant 1 or 2, but I mean, that's been really fussy because it's their first time over a fence. It's called a beginner's chase in Ireland for a reason. They're just beginners, so I'd say Nicky was thrilled. I'd say Willie was thrilled with Kopek to board. And for me, the best performance of the three, I think the best performance of the week, maybe ahead of L'Eau Du Sud, was Final Demand. I think that Final Demand's personality, I'd say he's a piano player, whereas Kopek to board is a drummer in a rock and roll band. If you're going to be a 3 miler, you can't be that keen, you know what I mean? You have to be nice and relaxed and calm, and his attitude's perfect. And for him to jump a fence, it's like me and you walking on the road. It's just so effortless for him. Whereas Kopek to board wants to get on with it. And as a 2 miler, I suppose you have to be more aggressive. But Final Demand, in terms of just being the perfect horse for 3 miles, he's that. And like, it's 20 to 1 bar him and the Brown Advisory at the minute, and it's very hard to see at the moment any dangers whatsoever. And you wouldn't be at all surprised if he's in the first 2 or 3 of the betting for the following year's Gold Cup, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I saw the other day, I think he's single figures for the Gold Cup next year.
27.
Already. Yeah, which is amazing, really. Final Demand is 6 to 4 with Betfair.
The only little thing you'd have in your head is, you know, we've seen it with Brighter Days Ahead, etc., is that he has been beaten at Cheltenham. So is that a little thing or is it not? And, you know, the Yellow Clay finished ahead of him. He got beat. We'll talk about him in a few minutes. He has been beaten. Obviously, the New Line is a super horse too. So just provided that Cheltenham is no issue, he'll take a lot of beating. I just hope he doesn't go off 1 to 4 like Monkfish did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting watching those races, isn't it, at Navan? Because Paul Townend, you kind of approaching the second last, you thought, oh, they've closed back up here. Yeah. What have you got? And then both of them attacked the last and then just went clear late on. And I thought they were both just brilliant performances.
I think Nav is one of the best race courses in the world for national under racing. I don't know if you've been, but it's a magic race course. Yeah, it's very good.
Tom, I want to touch back on Lalamba. For me, 2 mile chasers, flat, get over and basically how fast away from the fences. I thought for myself, Lalamba was a bit up and down, and I think if the intermediate chase was still at the Cheltenham Festival, the Grade 1, I think they'd probably be heading there as opposed to the Arkle, for which is now 7 to 2.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought he was a little bit skew at some of his fences, just a little bit slow perhaps, but he was learning the game. It was a shame that a couple were taken out because of the low sun. I mean, it's so predictable, isn't it? You want to see a chasing debutant of his calibre. But I thought the home straight he jumped really well, and I didn't think it was much of a race in the end. Beforehand it looked strong, but I felt that, I don't know, I just didn't think it really had too much strength and depth possibly going forward. I think a couple in behind would be pretty decent handicappers, whereas Lambo's in a class of his own. So I was perfectly happy. I thought it was a good performance. Nicky and Nico were both happy afterwards. Again, tougher tests are going to await, but you'd have to be pleased with what you saw. I mean, Nicky was saying beforehand, wasn't he, that he's telling us that he wants to go chasing. And I think you could probably see that. He's got the scope for it. He's very athletic.
It played up in the parade ring. I've never seen that. I don't know if he actually done that previously.
Well, you've got to remember as well, it was only his 5th start, wasn't it? And he's still young. And I think probably, you know, having had the time off, maybe he's just come back and there's a few revs that need to be got out of his system. But even given those exertions early on, he was fine during the race. And I think just he'll need a bit more experience, but it'll come.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer, lads, Kopek or Lalamba?
Definitely Kopek.
Yeah, Kopek for me.
Yeah, I would too. The only thing I'll say is that 7 to 4 roughly, or 2 to 1, Kopek compared to 6 or 7 to 4 Final Demand. If I had to pick one of them, it'd be definitely Final Demand. Even though you have to jump a lot more fences, because you're going slower, I think there's less chance of a mistake. Whereas in the 2 mile division, whether it's a champion chase, unless you jump like L'Eau Du Sud, but in an Arkle, if you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you're in trouble. So if you've got a big bet on Kopek to board at even money on the day, you're kind of watching it through your fingers, just praying to jump each one of them. Whereas with Final Demand, you don't have that stress, I don't think.
I do think with Final Demand, might sound like hyperbole, but it was one of the best chasing debuts I've ever seen. I mean, he didn't touch a twig. When asked, he quickened.
You were just saying a few minutes ago, Paul Nichols shouldn't be saying what he said.
You make a good point. I stand by it though. I think it was a remarkable first performance over fences. The way he quick and clear, and in my mind, they might well have him as sort of the next, maybe the one to follow in the footsteps of Galopin Des Champs in the future. That's possible for the yard. He's less flashy than Galopin, but that might be a good thing. I think he's just got all the attributes of a Gold Cup horse going forward.
And I think Willie made a very valid point. As always, valid point is that he came from the point-to-point field, so he would have jumped 1,000 fences back in the day, whereas Kopek to Board came from bumpers and that, so he hasn't jumped near the same amount of fences yet. So
yeah, Final Demand, I think, is if I could own one horse in National Hunt, I think it'd be him.
I was going to say to you, if the three of them went to the sales, how much next week? How much would they make? They'd definitely make over 3 million together, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
Would they make 5?
Probably.
Yeah.
Think about the Caldwell.
I think they would.
Dispersal sale.
Like there was horses came from France to Dan Skelton yesterday for 700 and 500.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horses now making 500 in France that a few years ago made 300. So they probably would make 5 million. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 very exciting horses going forward. Gavin, I'm going to come to you for. We had loads of different performances. I know you had a good day tipping wise as well. You had Answer to Cave winning the Troy Town as well, but. Anything else that's caught your eye? Yeah,
just a few to mention last week, if that's okay. So Bangor last Wednesday, Diva Luna beat Joyeuse by 19 lengths. She jumped brilliant. I thought that was really good. And to counteract that, I thought Derry Hassan Paddy, who ran a cracker in the Bartlett, I think the Bartlett form's very good, Mashan too and everything else. But Derry Hassan Paddy's jumping last Wednesday in air was not good. It was terrible, to be honest. It was slow. He jumped to the right. He made 3 bad mistakes. Like I don't know what price he is for the Brown Advisory, but you wouldn't back him at 100 to 1. He could end up maybe in the National Hunt Novice Handicap Chase or something, but unless his jumping improves, but it wasn't good last Wednesday.
25s,
bad value. You can have 33s with me if you want it. Last Thursday in Punchestown, Highland Crystal won an Academy hurdle. These are one of the new races in Ireland for 3-year-olds that haven't won, and that horse, she can still run the maiden hurdle in a few weeks. But she was very, very impressive. She won by 14 lengths for Gordon Elliott, and she's one to watch out, Highland Crystal. Cocktail Brute beat Colcannon by 9 lengths in the maiden hurdle. Colcannon beat it in a bumper at Leopardstown, but Colcannon's not a natural jumper, Cocktail Brute is, and he was quite impressive. A really, really good horse that won Navan on Sunday was Barbizon. Has a rating on the flat of 101. Jack Kenny didn't even ride it because Gordon said afterwards there was fears that the horse is jumping and about the ground, so Jack picked another horse from the stable, and Barbizon settled like a lamb. It had been a 9-furlong horse in the flat, so you'd be a bit worried maybe about being keen. It settled really well, jumped perfectly. It led, then it sat in behind, and then it led again and bolted up. 16-1 for the Triumph Hurdle. That's definitely worth a mention. Probably going to go to Leopardstown at Christmas, I'd say, in next run. Calypso Chance came back from a disappointing run at Down Royal. Came back with distressed, like all the punters that backed it into 1 to 5. Got beat over 2 miles. This was 2.5. It was a grade 3 novice hurdle. Beat the big clubman of Paul Nolan's by the length and a quarter. And you have to remember, Calypso Chance actually went off favourite for the Cheltenham bumper last year. It will probably end up more of a Bartlett horse, I'd imagine. Answer to Cave won the Troy Town. Great performance. The horse absolutely loves soft ground. I would imagine the Thyestes at the end of January would be the next run because the Paddy Power at the ground would be too quick. So if he shows up in a Thyestes, even with a penalty, he'd have a squeak. Old School Outlaw for Gordon Elliott won the Mayor's Bumper in Navan on Sunday, and I thought she was really good. Came from the Caldwell stable, first run for Gordon. And if she goes novice hurdling, she will take, I think she'd take quite high rank. Monday in Navan, Classical Creek was good, won a maiden hurdle. I'll sort that, won a graded hurdle from the Flying King, giving it a bit of weight. Colonel Mustard beat the Yellow Clay. So Colonel Mustard hadn't won in 5 years until won in Sligo. Now he's won 2 in a row and won this graded hurdle. The Yellow Clay, obviously a lot of people talking about it for the stayers based on the form of the Turners with Final Demand and the new line. But got beat here, was 8 to 15, and when they went too quick. When they crossed the line, they literally just turned into the parade ring. They literally just stopped over the line and just walked in. That's
slow motion stuff from there.
So maybe the ground was against him, but he'll have to improve a lot the next time to be a stairs hurdle candidate. Dino Blue got beat by Found of 50. She's favourite the Mayor's Chase. She made a horrendous mistake at the 4th, and the jockey gave her time to get back into the race. Was getting back into it, made another mistake 2 out. She's 8, turning 9. I think maybe she might struggle to beat a horse like Spindlebury next March if they meet. I backed her last year, but I just think, as I said, with John Bond, it's very hard to stay at the top level for so many years. And then we've mentioned the others, Kopek to Board, yeah. So that's it.
Lovely. Lots mentioned by Gavin there. Hope you had your notebook out. Tom, anything from you?
I wanted to mention John Shinnick because he is a proper rider now. I mean, he's really improved. I thought he gave Colonel Mustard a lovely waiting ride, and obviously answer to Cafe, it was more of a strong ride, wasn't it, in the closing stages? The horse got headed and he got the horse back up. I think he's starting to be a rider that really performs on the big days. He's not that flashy or well known particularly compared to some of the bigger guns, but he's a really solid pilot. So I thought I'd give him a mention. Of the others, Marble Sands, I've followed this horse for many years. I've always liked him. He won the Sydney Banks, of course, and he won the Colin Parker last year. He's got plenty of talent. He doesn't always bring it to the table, but when he does, he's a lovely horse to watch. He jumps very well, and I thought he was really impressive over the extended 3-3 at Cheltenham at the weekend.
And he had the ideal prep. He ran over 2 miles in the flat in Goodwood and then wins over 3 miles, 3 over fences.
And the ground was good at Goodwood as well. I mean, he's quite versatile as regards ground as well. They're talking about the Grand National now for him. Obviously, he'll need to improve for that. He'll need to prove that he stays further. But I was very surprised that he managed to be such a strong stay over 3.5. So the world's his oyster now for staying trips. He's a classy individual over shorter. If he's got the stamina that he looks like he has, then I think he's going to be a decent horse. I want to give Tom Cooper a mention for the 2 bumper winners as well.
Definitely.
Both of them really impressive, Gavin. Which one did you think was better?
I thought both of them were good. I mean, in terms of, are they going to win a Grade 1 bumper? Possibly not. The mare that won on the Saturday gave Bud Fox a big plug from the April form in Punchestown, and then Bud Fox travels to the Bend and doesn't finish out. I think Gavin Cromwell, who's a brilliant trainer, he's currently, I think, something like 1 from 92 in the last 3 weeks. So his horses just aren't firing. Some ran well. He was 2nd and 4th in the Tri-Town with horses, but Bud Fox was very disappointing. And great for Tom Cooper. Yeah, as I said, I don't think they were the strongest races, but fantastic to win 2 bumpers in 2 days at Cheltenham,
Yeah, absolutely right. Talking of trainer form, I wanted to quickly mention Paul Nicholls as well, because there's been a lot of conjecture in recent weeks about him being out of form. His horse is not firing, but actually, if you look at his strike rate, he's 28% overall, 33% this season with chasers. So actually, the horses are running well. He just perhaps hasn't got quite the level of horse that we're used to seeing with him. It'll come back, I'm sure. These things go in cycles. The other one I wanted to mention was Weighed Out, partly because of the ride from Sean Byrne, which is just amazing. I mean, the guy's just a bit of a freak, I think, now. But the horse himself, I just didn't think handled the ground at all. Like, he was clearly unhappy in it. Sean kept him going, but still to win and still to power up the hill in the manner that he did, I thought was very impressive. And I think he'll be a proper force on better ground in decent races. He's a strong stayer. I really like what I saw there. The way that he hit the line, having not travelled, I thought was very impressive.
Could he end up with the National Hunt Novice Handicap Chase?
The way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he's even quoted for the Brown Advisory. I think that's the way he's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's definitely going to be one for handicaps.
Yeah.
Just the last one that I wanted to touch on, just performance. Probably not going forward, but I thought Eldorado Allen was brilliant in the Veterans Chase. That's the exact sort of horse why these Veterans Chases were actually brought in. And
he hadn't won in 3.5 years. Yeah. But he was some sight out in front. It's... You know, every time you see a grey jumping like that, you're thinking of Desi, obviously, but Desi Rockert, fantastic sight and a great jumper. And the veteran chases are a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings to an end this week's Racing Recap. This week, Bet365 are supporting Safer Gambling Week, which is a national cross-industry initiative to raise awareness of safer gambling. Visit safergamblinguk.org for more information. Before we get into our weekend preview, just to let you know, our sponsor Bet365 have a best odds guaranteed offer. It's available on every single UK and Irish race before 8 AM on the day of the race. If you take a price and the SP is bigger, Bet365 will pay you out at the bigger odds. Full terms and conditions can be found on the website. So we'll look ahead to the action on Saturday, the highlight being the Betfair Chase. Tom, last year's 1-2, Royal Pagaille and Grey Dawning look set to face off again, but you've got some progressive horses like Haiti Calor coming in as well.
Yeah, you were just talking about the Veterans Chase at Cheltenham. Well, Royal Pagaille, 11 years old now. He's going for 3 in a row. It'd be quite some achievement, wouldn't it? And I know he loves Haydock, he loves the mud. It might not be as soft as usual. That's definitely a caveat we should talk about. But yeah, he reminds you, doesn't he, of Bristol Demai, the way he just goes to Haydock and seems to relish it. Venetia's not been in great form so far. Obviously, Jello did sort of buck that trend, but generally her forces haven't been firing so much. Grey Dawning is a ludicrously short price in my book, I'm afraid. Had 4 starts last season. One of them beating Iroko at Kelso, who was using that as a Grand National prep. And the other 3, he was beaten by Gaelic Warrior at Aintree, he was pulled up in the King George, and then before that he was beaten by Royal Pagaille. Of the ones up against Royal Pagaille and Grey Dawning, the one that screams out to me is Haydock. He's got that fitness on his side. Who knows how good he could be? We don't know yet. I mean, he won the Irish National last year, great style. He'll stay the trip, obviously. And he's an 8-year-old going places. It's nice for Rebecca Curtis to have such a good one. Sean Bowen's on board. Yeah, for me, he's the real improver. Could be the fly in the ointment. And the other one I want to mention, I don't think she'll win, but I think she could easily run really well, is Marsh Wren, the outside of the field. I'm a little bit concerned because I don't know why we haven't seen her since last November, because she bolted up at Market Raisin in that listed race, beating Apple away 16 lengths. Obviously got lots to find at the weights and the ratings, but she's got a lovely attitude. She'll probably try and bowl out from the front. She might get a little bit tired, but I think she'll run above her odds. I don't think she'll win, but I can see her giving Haydock a lead. Haydock then taking it up, maybe alongside Royal Pagaille, and then Grey Dawning trying to close on Haydock but not being able to do it. That's the way I perceive the race anyway.
Yeah, Gavin, if we look at the market, 11 to 10, Grey Dawning at the head of it, Haydock 7 to 2, Marsh Wren, Tom's big price fancy available at 33 to 1. Now, I like Haydock. I think he's a proper old-fashioned chaser. I ran some trends for oddschecker the other day. 11 of the previous 12 winners won a Grade 1 previously, which obviously he hasn't yet, but he's clearly progressive.
Absolutely, yeah. He was revelation last year, wins at Cheltenham, wins at Fairyhouse. For a novice to go and win at the Irish National, lads, it's a grueler. Like that is, you don't realise how much of a grueler the Irish National can be. 3 miles 5, it takes a very tough horse to win that. Grey Dawning is 1 from 6 in Grade 1s, has been beaten on his last 3 first time out runs for the season. Got beat by a 10-year-old in this last year, who's now 11, Royal Pagaille, as we know. Look, they're talking about, I think, the guts of 10 mils of rain today and maybe the same again on Saturday. So I think anybody having a bet, I think you really should wait. The race at 3 o'clock, I think you should wait till 2:55 and see what the ground is, because you're going to hear lots of different things over the next few days. Even Saturday morning, they're going to say it's this. 1 o'clock, it'll be something else, and by 3 o'clock, it could be changed again, you know. So if the ground comes up heavy, Dan Skelton said the other day that Grey Dawning is fully fit, but he said he was fully fit last year. So 11 to 10 sounds very short to me. I'd be with Haydock. He's improving. Okay, he's got 16. I'm not totally in love with the 16 days gap between the hurdle run and it. I don't know why you wouldn't run a month beforehand, but anyway.
It was a tough race he had as well.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say they cared if they won that day or not, but he got a tough enough race. Royal Pagaille is a revelation, but I can't back a horse that's about to be 12 in 6 weeks. Be against my nature. But yeah, Haydock at 7 to 2, and I think Grey Dawning is certainly beatable at 11 to 10.
Both the lads looking to take on Grey Dawning towards the head of the market then. Stayers handicap hurdle, Marchand 2, an impressive winner at the October meeting at Cheltenham, currently heads the market with Bet365 at 7 to 2. I remember the show last year, we discussed Shoot First, put up at 8 to 1 on the show, drifted all the way out to 22s, and he's currently a 6 to 1 chance with Bet365.
Yeah, I mean, Shoot First a bit higher this year, hasn't done much since. I'd be against it. I would be totally in love with Marchand 2. The only thing is, again, this is at 225. I'm either having no bet in the race or I'm backing Marchand 2. I'll want to hear what the trainer says on Saturday. I want to see what the ground is. A really quick time the last time when I won the Pertemps qualifier. It's £9 higher. I thought it was very, very impressive. So I would definitely love Marchand 2. I'd love him to go straight to the Pertemps on good ground, but that mightn't happen. So look, did win a bumper on soft ground, but that wasn't the strongest race ever. And best form on good ground. So it's either Marchand 2 or nothing, but I'll see what the ground is like.
Yeah, perfect. Tom, your opinion?
Interesting on Shoot First, actually, because Benjamin Macy's been booked to ride, claiming £7. He's only ridden 14 winners in his career. It's quite an interesting jockey booking, I think, from Charles. But I know he likes to use conditionals, claiming weight off the back, but he'd be one of the more inexperienced and perhaps lesser able, without being rude, jockeys that I think he perhaps could have chosen. Marchand 2, hugely respect him. Emma Lavelle says straight after he won at Cheltenham that this was the target. And yeah, I thought the way that he won screamed well handicapped, certainly perhaps better handicapped than £9 rise he's been given. Of the others, I actually think that Navajo Indy might well be suited by a step up to 3. Judged on what he did behind Friendship last time. He wasn't stopping at the finish, he just got a little bit outpaced. But he's got good form over 2 miles in recent seasons. He's not related to 3 mile winners. It's kind of 2.5 in his pedigree, but he does scream when he's running that he wants 3 miles. So I'd be keen on him stepping up to that trip for the first time. He got given the £3 rise for being second behind Friendship at Cheltenham last time, but given the fact he might well improve over this trip, I can see him running a decent race. It looks like a belter, and usually is, but so many going in there with good form.
Yeah, Navajo Indy currently 10-1 at the time of recording with Bet365. Just letting we're recording slightly later today, so we've got the entries through for both the Morgiana hurdle and the John Durkan. Not much has come out of the Morgiana hurdle, to be fair. Amsterdam currently heading the market, just a shade of odds on. You've then got Ironsi, Lossiemouth and Salvatore Mundi, all for Willie Mullins. Is there a bet here, though?
Probably not really. Amsterdam is a very, very quick horse, but he needs to just become a man. He's very, very keen. After he won a Fairy House last year, he won twice in France, and then he wins a Fairy House. I backed him at 33-1 to win the champion hurdle. I just thought it was very impressive. But he doesn't make it. So that's 2 Cheltenhams he's missed. So obviously he's a little bit fragile, but he is very, very keen, and he just needs to, cop on and just get less keen. Otherwise he's going to be in trouble. Ironsi was very, very good at Punchestown. He's 2 from 2 at the track. Very good in the April meeting. But, with the April meeting, can you take the form as literal? Perhaps you can. But all eyes will be on Amsterdam to see can he replace Statement with the same owner, and will he? He just needs to calm down. At 4-5, I won't be backing him at that price. But if he settles, he definitely has a brilliant turn of foot.
Just looking here, William Money has just appeared in the market on my phone.
I thought there was talk maybe that he wasn't going to go. Are they now saying that he is going to go?
Well, he's suddenly popped into the markets on here, so I don't know whether we can refresh in order to see him, because obviously he ran really well in the Supreme and has been talked about as a champion hurdle horse. Yeah,
absolutely. Second to Kopek to Bordes, and Barry Connell is never too shy about talking up his horses, and he certainly thinks that William Money has a chance in the champion hurdle. Sean Flanagan was interviewed the other day and was asked for a horse to follow for the season, and he gave William Money in the champion hurdle, so he would add a lot to it. Glenkillen is probably a horse that'll be underrated, be a big price. It's hard to believe that he runs in a Morgiana, considering he was running handicaps over 2.5 and 3 miles last winter. Cargeese, I don't know if she's going to go here, maybe to the fighting 5th. But yeah, you'd really like to see Amsterdam or Ironsi win, and win impressively if they're going to compete in a champion hurdle. Yeah.
Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a big test for Amsterdam, isn't it, this? I mean, it's his first big test, because he had 2 starts in France. He beat Carlo Conti easily, first start in Ireland. Then he went and beat Beacon Edge 10-1 on. So this is a huge test for him. And hopefully he's up for it. It'd be great to have him, replace State Man for the season. Carlo Conti rated 140. He won that easily, so that gives you a fair indication of his ability, or how good he could be. I thought, it's interesting, I was watching that Supreme actually again this morning, and I sort of forgot how well William Money ran behind Kopek David Ward. At one stage after the last, you think, is he actually going to win? And then Kopek actually draws clear and does sort of stamp his authority on the race. But he ran so well, and I can see him being a huge player this season. I get what Gavin says about Ironsi. Punchestown, end of the season, some of those results can be a little bit iffy. He was also kept quite fresh, wasn't he, for the race? So that said, he was ridiculously impressive. So he's a horse that I really like, and I hope he has a really good season. I love the way he travels, and he's got plenty of pace too. So I can see him taking top order in the 2-mile tree. And we commented earlier, didn't we? It might not be the toughest tree, it might not be the classiest tree that has been perhaps in the past. It does give a horse like Ironsi or a horse like William Money a very good chance of throwing their oar in to get to the top. We'll see. But yeah, obviously we haven't got declarations. It's going to be interesting to see what Willie does run. Hopefully he runs Amsterdam and Ironsi. And yeah, hopefully we get a performance that suggests there's going to be one in there who will sort of light up the season.
Yeah, definitely. John Durkan, I think, was one of my favourite races last season. It looks as if we're going to get a similar sort of field this year. Obviously, Galopan isn't going to make the race, but you've got Factor File there around 5-4, Gaelic Warrior 9-4, Fast or Slow, who won this 2 years ago at 6-1, and then the Gold Cup winner, I know where you're thinking, at 10-1 as well. So some field again for the John Durkan.
Yeah, it looks great. I think Factor File will probably win if he's ready to go. He won it last year. I think he's possibly, of those you mentioned at the top of the market, Gaelic Warrior is a quick horse, but Factor File, the speed that he showed at Cheltenham last year was quite extraordinary. I think if he's ready to go, which he will be, we'll get him ready for this. He's the one to beat. Fast or slow, obviously has that good Punchestown record, but not been seen for 364 days a year since last time. He was beaten by Factor File in the race last year. I know the way you're thinking, surely won't be tuned up for this properly, given the way he's going to be the rest of the season. So I think it's Factor File probably is going to be the winner here. Hopefully we get a race as exciting as we did last year. I don't know what the plan is for Lecky Watson, because he was a bit of a revelation, wasn't he, last year? Do you have any idea what's going on with Lecky Watson?
Willie keeps on mentioning the Grand National, doesn't he? Which makes you think that he's going to be a level below Grade 1 company, despite winning the Brown Advisory.
Yeah, the staying novices from last season didn't set the world on fire. Lecky Watson wins the Brown Advisory. He's a kind of a horse that I've never backed him. He's never caught anybody's imagination, but he's getting better and better. Maybe he's a sneaky one that nobody particularly fancies, but yeah, maybe he's going to go for the Grand National instead of the Gold Cup, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the area? I know the way you're thinking this year. Do you think he'll have a similar sort of campaign to last year and peak for March?
Yeah, I backed him in the Kim Muir, whatever it is, 18 months ago, and after 3 fences, I'm kind of going, oh, okay. But it took the genius of Derek O'Connor just to give him plenty of time, be patient. He comes through and bolts up at like 13-8, wins at Aintree. And so, again, his jumping was a little bit iffy. So the John Durkan and the 2 races at Leopardstown, particularly the Irish Gold Cup, where he was a huge eye catcher. Those 3 races were really to get his jumping better, because that was all you were missing. He definitely had the engine. And then he gets to Cheltenham, and the vibes on the day of the Gold Cup, I got a few phone calls to say it was very fancied. And obviously, for them to have supplemented, or for Gavin Cromwell to say, ring JP and say, I don't know much, is it 20 or 30 grand? I think we should do it. Roll the dice, because they had been talking about the Grand National before that. So to me, I've backed him to win the Gold Cup this year. I think 7-2 is fair. If he finishes, as I said to you, Gavin Cromwell's horse are not in good form at the minute, so if he finishes beating 15 lengths, I'd be thrilled with that. I don't think his price is going to change much. You might think he's going to go out to 6-1 or 5-1. I don't see it, because I think everybody knows that these races are really just a build-up to March. And in terms of what's going to win the John Durkan, as you said, last year's event was maybe the best race we saw up till Christmas. Last year was a brilliant finish. Factor File, I think he might have even ran a 2.5 mile bumper, but to me he's a 2.5 miler. I know he won the Brown Advisory, but if you watched him in Leopardstown the last, say, at Christmas and last February, he's coming there turning in, he's coming there at the last, you think he's a danger. And like, he's beaten by Grangeclare West on the run in, do you know what I mean? So I think that 2.5 mile really suits him. He was excellent in the Ryanair. This is his trip. He's allowed, I'm not saying bowl along, but he can sit second, third, and he can be aggressive on him, and the horse loves it, and he's jumping quick, and so I think he'll take a lot of beating. Gaelic Warrior's better going right-handed. He's just an enigma. He's not a straightforward horse, and fast or slow, I would imagine this is a stepping stone to the King George. Now the others might go to the King George too, but because he's been off a year, I would imagine they'd be thrilled if he was 3rd or 4th. So it's probably between the two, but Factor File, if you get even money, that's far better value, I'd say, than Amsterdam possibly.
Yeah, Factor File, you'd imagine, might well turn into Allaho, just keep going back to the Ryanair, and they think that it might be a Gold Cup horse.
Especially if JP owns, I know the way you're thinking, and he's going for the Gold Cup, why not? And then you've got Madgeborough for the Champion Chase, so go for the hat-trick.
Yeah, I agree.
Want to mention Hartwood, because he's entered at Ascot as well at the weekend, might go for that 1965 Chase.
Yeah.
If he does go for the John Durkan, I could see them maybe adopting slightly different tactics that has always been the case in the past, that they try and make it, because obviously he stayed over 2:7 last time, proving his stamina. And
shouldn't be good enough though, should he really?
He shouldn't be good enough, but
no.
I think I can see him going out in front and making it a test.
Yeah, around 14-1 at the time of recording, Hartwood for the John Durkan. We've also, like you touched on, got some good action at Ascot. We've got the undercard at Haydock as well. 1965 Chase, you could have LA Francais, you could have Gidley Park. I think Harry Fry has quite a lot of his good horses entered this weekend as well. Outer Belly, over hurdle. Is there anything else that took your eye, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Haydock, the 115 on Saturday, and I fancy a horse called I Love My Bay for Stuart Crawford. He won the race 2 years ago with Park Annonciade, and this is a horse who hit the front last time at Kilbeggan. That was over 3 miles, half a furlong. Just got tired. That extra trip, I think, was just that little bit too much for him. He's dropped back in trip now over 2 miles 3. That's going to be right up his street. And the last time he ran in England was behind the 4 6s, who might well reoppose in this race for Sean Byrne, Ollie Murphy. Beat him that day, but he was given so much to do. I mean, he was well out the back, finished off for third, but that was off 134 British mark. He's off the same mark. I could see him running really well.
Yeah, currently 16-1 with Bet365 at the time of recording. I love my bay. Gavin, for you?
I'll give you a few for Saturday in Punchestown in a moment, but LA Francais on Saturday in Ascot in the 1:30 the 1965 chase. I definitely won't back him because I just can't. Once I hear that a horse bursts, that's me done, gone. No matter what, I won't back them. But to watch him out in front in Ascot will just be, it'll be 4 or 5 minutes of fun, won't it, to watch him, because he's just amazing to watch. He's brilliant. In Punchestown on Saturday, I think Kitzbühel will win the 12:32. It's a beginner's chase over 2-3. I think Gaelic Warrior might have won that race a couple of years ago. Willie likes that race. I'm not sure. Faheen might have won it too. I'm not sure. In the 105, it's the Florida Pearl. It's a grade 2 over 3 miles. Really competitive race. Lots in here with chances, even though there's only 9 runners. I like Oscar's brother, and I also like Rocky's Diamond. If they both run, maybe Rocky's Diamond, who ran a cracker in Wexford, having previously won in Galway. He's only a 5-year-old. And also in the 140 in a handicap chase, Castlefield Boy for the Foleys won very well the last time, Fairy House. Only gets a £9 penalty. Jumps for fun. It'll be carrying a light weight if the top weight stay in, and that horse would definitely have a chance, yeah.
Excellent. I just want to chuck in one, and that's Woodoo in the 240 at Ascot, the Ascot Hurdle. It looks actually quite a strong contest this year. You've got the likes of Potter's Charm, Outer Belly, possibly Katira as well.
I think she's also entering Punchestown in the Mayor's Hurdle at the weekend as well, so it'll be interesting to see where she goes.
Yeah, because she's 7 from 8 over hurdles. Obviously, the only defeat came in the Aintree Hurdle behind Lossiemouth last year, and this is her trip, isn't it?
Yeah, and if she goes to Punchestown, she'll be odds on. She's well clear in the ratings in Punchestown, so it'll be interesting to see where Gordon brings her.
Definitely.
I just wanted to mention one more as well myself, if that's all right.
Yep.
Ascot on Saturday in the Berkshire National 205. There's a horse called Snipe.
Oh, God.
And
Cliff horse?
He's been my cliff horse for a long time. I have given up, though, until today. He hasn't won for ages. He's got much more talent than his winning record. He was last a winner back at the end of 2023 at Aintree, winning easily over 3 miles won. That was off 118. He's now off 123, which just shows you he's not really improved. He's never gone much higher than, I think his highest rating is 128, so he's never really gone much higher than that. Tristan Durrell's on board, takes off £3, so for 120, that's £2 higher than when he absolutely bolted up at Aintree. He's 8 years old. He's not that old yet, and he's unexposed over staying distances. This is his second try at a 3-mile, 5-furlong trip. He's always looked as though he's going to stay, and if there's a time, come on, Snipe, it's this time. So fingers crossed he can run well.
Yeah. Back on the cliff, back off the cliff.
Yeah.
We'll
Exactly. You know how it is.
Definitely. Right, we'll be back shortly for our best bets of the weekend. Before we get into our best bets of the weekend, just to let you know of a free-to-play 6 horses challenge. It's available every weekend with prize pools available for 5 or 4 correct predictions, as well as a jackpot for all 6. Terms and conditions apply. So, Gavin, best bet of the weekend. It can be across Haydock, Punchestown, or even Ascot.
I'd like Marchand too, but the ground would be a worry for me, so I'm going to stick to Punchestown Saturday, Castlefield Boy in a handicap in the 140, Kitzbühel in the 12:32, and maybe Oscar's brother in the 105 in Punchestown on Saturday.
Okay, and what sort of price are you hoping for the main selection?
Which one? Castlefield Boy?
Yeah.
3-1.
Okay.
Something like that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Tom, best bet of the weekend?
I think laying Grey Dawning isn't too bad a shout, to be honest. I think his price is too short for me, really too short. Haydock got a chance to win a 7-2. I think that's a decent price. But my best bet of the weekend is going to be I Love My Bay in the 115 at Haydock. I think he's really well handicapped. Crawford won this race 2 years ago. 3 miles was too far last time. This should be perfect. And I think 16-1 is a nice each way price.
Yeah, big price then. I am going for Martyr myself in the 315 at Ascot, the Hurst Park handicap. Actually won this race last year off a mark of 140 and is back down to a mark of 139. Had to miss his intended comeback at Ascot in a race that he won last season and ran in Exeter instead in the Howden Gold Cup. Dropped to 139 as a result, but back to Ascot is 11-2 with Bet365 at the time of recording. And I'm hoping that Martyr back at Ascot can win the Hurst Park handicap chase once again. Right, plans for the week, gentlemen? Going racing?
No plans for the week. What have I got? My daughter's taking part in a dance event at the weekend. I have to drop her on Saturday morning. I have to go back Saturday night. I have to bring her Sunday morning, watch her, and then watch her again Sunday night and wait for the award ceremony. So that'll be 2 full days of that. So
Is this one of these things where you've learnt half the routine because she's practicing in the living room?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So if I get to see some races, I'd say it'll be on the phone.
Perfect. Tom?
I'll be at Warwick on Thursday with Sam Turner. Looking forward to that. That'll be a decent day. We're on air at 11:15, so I'm actually going to have to stay over the night before. But looking forward to that. And then the weekend, I've got a rare weekend off, which is really nice. So I think me and Charlotte are going to do something, my girlfriend, do something maybe in Windsor or something like that. I may have a day trip, but I'll try and catch the racing too.
That'd be good. Yeah, I think was it Kelso last Saturday started at about 10:45 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Those Saturday mornings, definitely kick off early on racing TV.
What about you?
Not this week. I was away for 2 days of Cheltenham, so earning the brownie points back for being at home this week before I head off to Ireland next year in August.
Yes, end of August. Curragh to Curragh Cycle. We'll have you there. We'll get you pictures. You're going to have the tash on. It might slow you down.
No, the tash will be gone for August.
God.
That's only allowed 1 month of the year. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Racing Weekly, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Many thanks to both Gavin and Tom for coming in today. As always, if you like what you've watched or heard in any of these previous episodes, then please give us a kind review on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. We'll be back next week in the company of Don McLean to look ahead to the Winter Carnival at Newbury and also the Fighting Fifth card at Newcastle. Thank you very much.